Hi, in this video I'll be briefly introducing the LCD on the Arduino. I'll mainly be concentrating on the Hitachi screen. I'm going to get it the right orientation, depends on where it is at the top. The nice little Hitachi screen. These are the simplest way of getting an LCD working on any computer, I would say. And then I may attempt to try and do the graphics LCD, which is a little bit more complex, especially with this being a 3.3 volt device, and I have to use voltage translation to make this work, otherwise I may end up killing it. Which I may have ended up killing this one anyway. But thankfully I have a couple of spares, if that's the case. You may have noticed I trimmed my beard a little bit. Looks a little better if you ask me, but I do like my beard though. Just running my fingers through it. Okay, so this is probably going to be a short video because I did some research into the Hitachi LCD. I thought I'd be writing my own driver for it, but it turns out Arduino has its own library that comes standard with the Arduino software under it's called the Liquid Crystal library, and there's an example for it which I'll now show you now on the bench. Right, what you see here is the example code that comes from the Liquid Crystal library. So basically, you open the Arduino up and go to examples. Under the Liquid Crystal, I did Hello World, and then I followed the wiring right here. And this time, rather than the Mega, I hooked it up to the little Nano, one of the Nanos that Amir gave me. I still have a spare one here, which I haven't hooked up yet. And so basically we just hit the upload button. Does a load of stuff, and then it works. Very simple. Now, what I have here, sorry about the bad lighting, what I have here is a 1K resistor powering the backlight LEDs, and I have a 10K pot right here, actually using a 10-turn pot. I can change the contrast with it very slowly, but it works. So you can do I think that's how it's supposed to look, isn't it? Black on white, or is it supposed to be white on black? Either way, it looks good. Here we have the LCD from the Nokia 3310 on its own little breakout board. You can find these cheap enough on eBay. I was given a couple of these by Amir. Thanks again, Amir. And so what I've done is I've hooked it up on the board according to if you go onto the Arduino Playground website, and it's actually under the Philips PCD 8544, so Nokia 3310 driver. If you type Arduino Nokia 3310 screen, you'll be linked to this anyway. It comes with the example code. And how many times I've ever tried getting this working, it never worked. But today I've had some success. Now, on the first part of the page, they have one just text, but on below it they have one with they have one with graphics. And this is the one I've tested. I tested the other one. For some reason the contrast didn't look too well with the text only. Can this focus properly? No. Anyway. Yeah, it's looking a bit better now. So what we have here is it's just animated in between hello capitals and lowercase, and it drew a little box around it. I thought it was pretty good. Now I have got the lines limited by 1K resistors, and That seems to be fine. It is powered by 3.3 volts, and all the instructions I've shown show that you could put the data pins directly into it and it won't cause it any harm. I personally would like some level shift circuit in there, so I might work on that, but for now that's working, so I'm not going to complain. Now I do have a 1K resistor for the display backlight, which is not too bad, and I'm doing this all with the Nano again. I did actually have it working with the Mega. It didn't seem to work for some reason. I was doing it before, did it with the Mega, it worked, put it back together again, but because what I noticed is the contrast was very low. So what I'll do is I'll flash in the last test code, which is the top of that Arduino playground page, and I'll show you what I mean. There. Is that working now? Yeah. Okay. You can just make that out. It's very hard to see in person and through the screen on here. Well, that's just, it did say hello world, but I put 39K channel. But I found touching these other screens to the connectors and resetting the board, they did actually do much better with contrast than this board does. But then I thought, you know, I would try the one with the lines on it, and I'm just putting that in now. It seems to look much better. I haven't looked at the difference in the code yet, but there's probably some way of fooling around with the contrast. Focused. Now this is the code. I copied and pasted directly from the website into my Arduino program. You got here the bitmaps for the characters, and then the actual code for writing it itself. Now, other example code I've seen uses the SPI interface, but I can't seem to get any of that working. So this looks like it's bit bashed. Like I tried to use it with this using the actual SPI pins that I use with the ADC and everything, but without any luck. That was with the code that uses SPI. But this code seems to work, and so I'll probably be using this code. Not fully decided which display is going to be used for the final thing, but either should work well. With this one we could display bar graphs and stuff, and this one is just simple. They use roughly the same amount of pins. Actually, this one uses 5 pins, and this one uses 6 pins of the data line. So in theory, this one is a better choice if we're tight for the pins. But either of them work well, so I'm happy with that. Well, I figured out the problem with the contrast. It actually is all in the code. Now, I was looking down closer. It says there's a line here. Now it should be at the top of the screen. See, set the contrast. So now it says BF right now, but it originally said B1. Now, because I noticed on the on this code here for the second example, BF was set and it says B1 was the original value. So I changed this back. I changed this to B1, and the contrast was awful, so I changed it back, which gave me the idea to do this one. And as you can see, it's much nicer to see now. It looks great. So that means we can set the contrast digitally rather than through analog. as with the Hitachi type LCD. So I may incorporate that into some software, I don't know. But as long as it can be seen, that's all that matters. Well, that was a brief look at the LCD displays. So we have both the dot matrix text and graphics displays. This one has the pinouts actually written on the top. This one's a very common display to buy on eBay. You just put in Hitachi 16 by 8. You can get 20 by 4. I think there's a 16 by 2. Sorry, 16 by 2. That's a 16 by 2 screen. 16 characters by 2. Each character is made by a 5 by 7 pixel bitmap. And then you got these ones, which could be pretty cheap as well. And if you look on the back, they actually have the pinouts, which is quite handy because you can use either the left or the right side pins. They're all the same. That's how you mount it. It's got a little triangle right there on the top right that shows the which way the display is to go up. Otherwise, you'll end up with it upside down and look like a fool. Okay, so that's the LCDs. Unfortunately, it's rather quick, but I'll put a link down below in the description to the page where I got the example code for the graphics LCD, and there'll be a little quick snippet showing you the code for the what's it called, the Hitachi LCD. Even though it's not much is needed, it's all in the libraries in the Arduino. So yeah, so I hope this brief thing has been helpful in some way. I'll put the diagrams on my website of the wiring for the screens to the Arduino. That way you can recreate it at home if you need to. Though I would like to note that I use a different serial pins. I use the D13 and the D11 pins on this example rather than I think it was pin 4. Yeah, pin 4 and 5 they wanted for the SPI, which I don't know, for some reason it didn't work, so I used 11 and 13. But you'll see that in the diagram. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.